Welcome again, wooden toy car fans. So this brand called CandyLab makes solid beechwood bodies of vehicles inspired by some sort of vehicles in real life. So it's not supposed to be a specific car, but you get design cues of real cars in these toys. So it says awesome wood toys. If you prefer vintage trucks, blah, 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 blah. Okay. These are the safety standards, 2008 safety standards for children, and that's some contact info. Okay, so you have this sleeve. Unfortunately, I kind of wish this was taped together, so you know if it's used or not. I don't know if this was used or what. See, it's very dusty in here. Look at this. So this is clearly displayed before, I would assume. Or maybe the factory is really dusty, but look at this. Right, that's a lot of dust in this box. Oh boy, and also look at that. Alright, well anyways, so there's 4 tabs holding this thing in place, and you gotta flex the box apart to get those tabs out. And it's on this cardboard base, and cardboard is abrasive, so there's probably going to be some scratches on the bottom of this thing. I think the brand needs to move to coated paper for this board. Like if there's a thin film of plastic on this, well, you know that this one turned out okay. No major abrasion. I've seen worse. Okay, well, it's good for the planet. That's what they're going for, sustainability. This is the only bad thing in this packaging, really. So yeah, look at this. There's just a bunch of dust all over this thing. So this is the problem. You don't know if you're buying a new toy or not. I paid new prices for this thing. It's a pretty recent release, but I got it from a Chinese reseller because I live in Asia. So other than not buying it directly from the CandyLab website, it's kind of hard to know if you're buying a new product or not. Anyhow, we have some tampo printed branding here and a lot number I can't make sense of. This is some sort of metal peg for, I think, the tow truck rubber band, or I've seen in their videos like they slingshot it with some rubber bands forward, but this is a magnetic attachment point for one of their trailers, and oddly it's extra paint or something here. I'm wondering why isn't this a circle? But I'm gonna leave that because if I chip it, it might cause more paint chipping further on down the line. It's got these rubbery tires, highly domed with nice tread, and you have this axle play to hopefully, I assume, to get around obstacles to let it roll smoother. And then you have this wheel, but it doesn't spin freely. Would have been, I think, kind of neat for kids to want to spin that. But all right, so this is a big detractor here. That's got nothing to do with this being used or not. It's just contaminants in the paint. I don't know what they are. It's weird. I don't know if they're air bubbles, but yeah, they're literally bumps, like braille bumps. I don't know. I wonder if I could sand that out. No, I think I'd probably have to repaint the whole thing. I won't do it right now if I do paint it. It's interesting. There's actually dust in the crack here. Maybe this is just dusty from the factory, which doesn't make sense. They would just take an air thing and air hose and dust them off, right? Well, this is an interesting design element here. There's literally like a 1 millimeter, no, more than 1 millimeter, 2 or 3 millimeter gap right here. It's interesting. And also the rear cabin is narrower than the front. You got this little step down. I kind of like it. I like that detail. I'm not sure if I'm sold on this gap. Maybe they did that because the wood isn't perfectly flat with the other one. These are hand cut, I think, the pieces of wood. So if they're not perfectly flat, maybe you'd have like a warped seam or something like that. But having a gap maybe alleviates that issue entirely. In fact, I do think this side here, see that gap there versus the gap on this side here, it looks tighter on this side than that side. Well, I also I wonder if you could put a business card in there, but no, it would just cover up most of the business card. I wonder what kids could do to put into that gap to increase playability. I don't know. Leave some comments. Alright, well, Anyways, the top pieces are painted black, not metallic, just regular black. You got these chamfers here, interesting. And the rear cabin is supposed to line up with this chamfer of the body. It's a little bit hanging over though. I can feel that ledge there. Hope you can see it. Okay, but the cabin itself is narrower than the body, which is good. So it's not hanging over on this side, just on the rear. And then this body is like a lime green, I would say. It looks like lime green sherbet. And it's not metallic, just regular paint. And then the front end has two chamfers. And it's just got this big swatch of like white or light gray. Maybe it's a light gray color. Alright, the side printing is nice. There's a little bit of a reflector there. The little striping is nice, showing letting the green run through. And the text is also letting that green shine through, which is cool. And so this is running Candy Grip 2211 tires. Let me measure this. I try to make sense of the things I own. Maybe it doesn't have to. And of course the battery died. Oh, no, never mind. I'm thinking this is 22. No, it's 19.5, so it's not. And then this wheel is around 9.5 thick. So is this tire 11 wide? Yeah, I would say the tire is supposed to be 11. I'm not sure why it would be called 22. Maybe it's supposed to be more like 20-11. But anyways, they're coding. They can do whatever they want. It's also kind of interesting and weird to me that the ridge is not in the middle. If the rib was in the middle, then you could flip the tire over, you know, in case there was like a cut or a defect on one side. But you're kind of forced to always show the branding here. And for some reason, that was difficult. Alright, not too difficult. So I like the domed fastener. It looks like a chrome hubcap now of the wheel, and the wheel is just black plastic. Okay, going around to this side here, the printing looks just as good. Very nice. And then the rear, nice to see some red taillights printed, and we have a light gray with a darker gray there. So very neat. I almost feel like maybe they should have let some of the green come through as like headlights or something. You know, they could have had a little more, maybe some detail here just with this one print process, or maybe leave some openings so the green would come through as like grill streaks or something like that. There's just so much paint on the back end. I'm not sure if it really matches up with the front end. Alright, so it is nice that you got that tire though, and you can spin it, so I guess I'll do P Candy Grip. Not sure what that P is representing either. Alright, well, minus these three things here, everything else looks perfect, really. Well, alright, never mind, that as well. But, yeah. I keep forgetting this is a rolling toy. I have to show you guys that it rolls. Being solid wood is quite heavy, and it does roll, but actually one of the axles is off because there's a wobble. Maybe you can see it wobbles when it rolls. None of the other ones I have that issue, so something is a little bit out of alignment. I think it might be this one. It looks a little bit low. Those two seem fine to me. So maybe this axle is a little bit out of place. I'm trying to see if there's a gap. No, there's no gap at all. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe... I was thinking maybe it's... Oh, look at this. This is really weird. Yep, there's the issue. Look how close the tire is to this edge here, right? Look how close the tire is. This axle looks like it's pushed back. So I'm going to set it on the front edge. I feel like these two wheels are down where these two wheels are up, right? Good. I don't understand how that could have happened. If I center those axles, see the angle there? Right? It's just strange. Same with this. So that's really not good at all. These are literally handmade, I think. I thought at first maybe these are CNC machined, but this is just clearly so far off, that axle from that axle. That is amazingly really weird, right? It's so strange. I'm pretty sure this side is correct. You can see more of the reflector here. But this side, you really can't see much of the reflector because the tire is so far forward. It's very strange that would... Wow. So, there's not much quality control from this brand. That's what I've come to realize. It's just luck if you're going to get a good one or not. So, it's so strange. I don't really play with my toys, after this video it's just going to sit on a shelf. So, it doesn't bother me too much, but if you're looking for a really good rolling toy, I think you gotta go with like Play Forever. Those things are injection molded plastic and they're perfect. Their paint is just so nice. They look like Rolls Royces being polished paint. Alright, well anyways, I do have two other SUVs. I have the Wanderer, which looks like an International Scout. I did add some stickers from a different CandyLab. But yeah, here's a little dent here. And this doesn't have that gap, right? But here's another sticker and it's peeling off. So that's the issue with stickers. They don't really stay down. They always peel. Anyhow, this one doesn't have that rolling issue. The axles are pretty much in line with each other. So let me just show you this one. They're a little bit off. Now that I think of it, I can see the front end wobbling a little bit, but it's not as bad as this green one. And then this is the Drifter X, and this is an optional canoe, a magnetic canoe. In fact, nope, there's no magnets in this or the Wanderer. So this is great. The only problem is, look at the paint. It's totally like flaked off there and flaked off there. It can't be damaged. Like, this is literally protected by a steel brush guard. So it's literally, I think the wood is contracting, expanding, and flaking off. So the brand, I think the brand has to relook at some of their paint process and have better adhesion, or maybe clear coat the whole thing to trap in all this color with a clear layer of clear coat or something. Anyways, this one's got some funky ribbed tires, which now in this case 20 makes sense. Is this 15 wide? So hold on, where are those calipers again? Yeah, this tire makes sense. It's closer to 15, and that rim is probably 20. Yeah, just the treaded ones don't make the greatest sense to me. Alright. So the Drifter X is definitely the biggest. Well, it's the tallest. Actually, it's not the longest, though. Okay, well, you can look up videos of these other two elsewhere. Well, on one point, it's obviously really sad to see such a glaring problem, having axles so spread apart from one side to the other. But if you look at it, if from this side it looks fine, it still looks okay, I think, on the other side. It just doesn't really make for a good rolling toy. My bigger concern is just these blemishes up top. They're just in the worst spot, right there, so visible. But everything else is printed really nice, painted really nice. There's no giant chips of paint missing either. So I still like the brand. Just don't expect perfection from a handmade wooden product. Yeah, those axles, crazy. Thank you for watching. We'll see you the next time we do a CandyLab car.